Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so now we are talking Game 6, Pelicans Suns. This series is shifting back to New Orleans, and what we just saw was a Game 5 that the Suns controlled completely. You saw Mikal Bridges just manage the game defensively, offensively, you name it. He was everywhere, and he was everywhere a lot of the time. And when he's playing that well on both ends of the floor, the Phoenix Suns can be the best team in the league. Plain and simple. You're also seeing continued and repeated eating in the paint from the Phoenix Suns. They've broken some type of record for percentages in field goals over the first 4 games of this playoff series. And that continued in Game 5 as well. They're just not missing inside. Ayton is eating straight up. Devin Booker will not be available for this one. They have officially ruled him out. Of course, we know he's been dealing with the hammy. We knew he wouldn't play, but it's official. He's not playing tonight. Landry Shamet, players like JaVale McGee, Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, all played well in Game 5, and they're going to have to continue to do that, take their game on the road in order to close out a Pelican team that is not for play, not even slightly. You're looking at Brandon Ingram, who's just been phenomenal for this series, stepping into his own, being a superstar, being clutch. But unfortunately, he came back down to earth in Game 5. So, in order for him to get back to his winning ways and doing the things that he needs to do, they're going to have to find some other players to do some things for them. They've fallen off on the scoring side of things since the Phoenix Suns have upped their defensive play. So, it's up to Willie Green at this point to kind of counter what we just saw in the previous game. And he's doing it for his playoff life. If they do not win this game, obviously the Pelicans don't have to get on a flight to fly back to the Valley because they are going to go home. They're done if they don't win. So I'm expecting a tremendous effort and young players being willing to play their hearts out. I have no thought in my mind of the Pelicans mailing it in. I don't think anybody's packed bags or bought plane tickets or anything like that in New Orleans. I think them guys have every intention of going back to Phoenix to play a Game 7. And in order for that to happen, they're going to have to do some things differently. First of all, they're going to have to be much smarter at their interior paint defense. They just got lost on a lot of switches, got lost and left people in the paint. Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance Jr., Valanciunas, they're just going to have to make the adjustment from last game to this game at whatever they saw that left them so vulnerable in the paint. It's happened all series long, as we've discussed, but there was a special emphasis on in that last game where they just could not figure out what Phoenix was doing to them. And my concern is that after 5 games, those issues may not necessarily get fixed in a Game 6. So it's up to Willie Green. It's up to Willie Green and the players to execute and learn from what they saw in that footage, which was so glaring to me. Another thing that's going to have to happen is they're going to have to up their efficiency from behind the arc. They were 5 for 25 from 3. That's not going to cut it. If you're going to beat a Phoenix Suns team who's playing defense, you cannot miss shots. Every possession must be handled with a certain level of intent. And even though you're a really good defensive team, relying on your defense against a team like Phoenix is not enough. You're going to have to put points on the board, and you're going to have to do it efficiently. Getting to the line is very important. When you're beating the Phoenix, when they've won against the Phoenix Suns, they've been more aggressive and they've gotten to the line a lot more than the Phoenix Suns. That's when people like Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, and everybody else they put on that floor, including Valanciunas, of course, in the paint, draw fouls and get people in foul trouble, make Phoenix play their others. So that's what I would say. Jose Alvarado, keep doing what you're doing. Everything you're doing has been exactly what they need. Efficiency from 3 is key. He's been shooting. The whole team was shooting pretty bad in that last game from behind the arc, as we said, 5 for 25. So just as a whole, I would like to see them do a little more. Also, there was a person that I said had gotten off the hook in that last game. I couldn't remember who it was. I just knew someone was on the Pelicans that didn't show up. It was Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham's going to have to play well with the minutes given. I understand he's playing imbalanced minutes. Obviously, with C.J. McCollum coming in, it's kind of taking his role and kind of putting it into a different space. I think some of the shots that CJ's taking right now are shots that I'm sure he was expecting to take. But all in all, he's just gonna have to find his way with the minutes given. If Devontae Graham is a 3-point shooter, so he should take a great deal of pride in teams that he's on not having percentages behind the arc like that, straight up. I don't know his game well enough to know what he contributes to the court enough. You know what I mean? Played in Charlotte, but I know he can get hot in a hurry. I know they gave him a 4-year deal, I believe it was, start this year. It's the playoffs. The season's on the line. You weren't anywhere to be found in Game 5. This game is in New Orleans. I'm expecting you to show up. That don't mean you got to go out and score 30, but it means if you're given 15 minutes, you got to be efficient with the scoring. You got to be hitting threes or doing the things that you do. Whatever they are, you got to be you, and you got to do it in a good way. Because you scoring, 4 points or something like that in that last game, you're too important to what it is that they do for that. Especially when the rest of the team is struggling too, it can't happen. So he's somebody I'm looking at saying, okay, you're better than that. And for this game, I'm expecting you to show it. So same thing with Trey Murphy. And listen, Trey Murphy's a rookie. I get it. But he's more talented than he's showing. And I want him to play better. I know that you're not supposed to expect much from rookies. I'm not comparing him to other rookies who are playing well in these playoffs. That's not fair. I'm just looking at him. I'm looking at how he can play. I'm looking at that ability that he has shooting the ball. I'm looking at that defensive length and his talent and his smarts and his offensive rebounding ability especially. And I'm saying you need to show up tonight. I'm not giving you a rookie pass, sir, because I believe in your game that much. And you have an opportunity here to, if your season is going to end tonight, it should end with you having a big game, So that's how I feel about that. He's had too many quiet nights. And a guy like that, when you're coming off the bench and you're as talented as him, that means you're coming into the game to play against teams, second units. So I want to see Trey Murphy force the issue. I don't want to see him just have another 4-point game or just a 1 for 6 or something like that. No, I believe in him too much. If their season is ending tonight, they need to be getting more out of that kid for sure. So that's something I'm looking at. Obviously, Herb Jones. I mean, you don't talk about Pelicans without mentioning Herb Jones. I really love what he can do. He's a next level talent. He blocks 3-point shots better than probably anybody I've ever seen. You just have to respect Herb Jones on the boards as well. And where I want to see him grow is just putting points on the board. Because the Pelicans are so deficient scoring the ball, they have him out there and he's so good defensively, so good on the boards. He can do a lot of things, but he's not scoring. And that's my problem. And he's a rookie. It's not like I'm saying, oh my God, you're supposed to score. But that they rely upon someone so much that doesn't score and they need points is the problem. They need him to score, bro. If he can give them 10 or 12 points, that's solid. Anything under that, and he's just not contributing enough on the offensive end. It's just that simple. And granted, there's balance to that. A lot of scorers don't contribute to the defensive end, of course, and their defense could suck because of it. That happens all day long. So I know I'm not playing enough focus to that, and I get it. But it's just glaring. It's glaring when you know that you rely upon a guy to be on the floor so much, and no points come from his presence. They need to get more scoring out of their entire team. That's the bottom line. B.I., I would love to see him score above 35 points this evening. Your season's on the line. Let him fly. Let it fly. You're the first option on this team. If they know what they're doing, you're the first option. Let them fly. CJ, I got a love-hate relationship with CJ in this series, as you guys know. I love what I'm seeing in the sense that I know for a fact that he is the most reliable scorer, and obviously, then he's scoring. So to be angry at the guy who's putting up the points is stupid. So I look at myself when I'm angry at him for the things that he does, and I kind of look at myself and say, okay, relax. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to just him, when it matters the most, making the right decision, whatever that may be. And that's the bottom line. His decision making is going to determine the success or the failure of the New Orleans Pelicans. CJ is a scorer, and he doesn't think pass. And sometimes he'll force a contested shot instead of passing to an open look. And that is the type of thing that I can't deal with, as you know. So that's why I'm like, man, I've learned a lot about CJ's game, and he has a lot of things about his game that are just things I can't stand. But at the same time, I know he's a quality player, to say the least. He could score with the best of them, and they're gonna need him to be himself tonight, whether I like it or not. They need CJ to be CJ, because if he's not upwards of 30 points plus tonight, it's already been said. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, what I expect to see is the Phoenix Suns have shook off their three-point woes. Through the first 4 games of this series, they couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. In Game 5, they shot the way they normally should have been shooting the entire time. If that carries into this game in New Orleans, the Pelicans will be sayonara tonight. I want the Pelicans to win so bad, but I know that's Chris Paul, y'all. I know it. That's Chris damn Paul. And even though he's had some moments where he tends to, fall asleep in the playoffs, injuries come around this time, which is really scary. But it's the best opportunity he's ever had to win a championship. I think this team is better than last year's Suns team. I think you got guys that are just 1 year older, like Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges and all that stuff. I really like the Pelicans, y'all. I'm a fan of what they're doing. I'm rooting for them. But I'm just pessimistic about tonight's matchup as it pertains to rooting for them. It's not even that I don't think they can do it. It's just that when you really just look at the two teams, I just don't know that with the Pelicans having their back against the wall, they can win 2 games against a team like this who's been the most efficient clutch team in the league this season. Meaning they convert better than anyone else when the game is close in the closing moments. And that's what I'm worried about. If it comes down to a close game, I don't like the Pelicans, because the Suns, functionally, that's what you can bet on. They're just going to win those games. So I expect a close game tonight. I don't expect the Suns to continue to struggle. The only way I see the Pelicans being able to have real cushion is if the Suns have the struggles behind the arc that they've had all series long. Now, maybe the Pelicans can force the issue. Maybe you force them into 3-point shots. Maybe you do a better job crowding the inside so they're forced to shoot threes, and maybe they brick them. Maybe you crowd out the 3-point line in such a way that forces them on the inside, but they've been killing you on the inside. They had success beating you doing that. So it's like, you just have to kind of pray, if you're the Pelicans, that they get back to shooting under 30% from the three. If Cam Payne has another disappearing act, that looks real good for the Pelicans. If Cam Johnson's not able to stay on the floor, stay out of foul trouble, looks real good. That kind of thing. But I think the Suns figured out the adjustments they needed to make to effectively guard Brandon Ingram. They figured him out, or more or less figured out what works. Aiton's been eaten, and I just expect that to continue. The momentum will be with the Pelicans just simply because of that crowd. They're going to be active. Alvarado's going to light them up. He's going to have them yelling. I'll say this, too. I need more out of Larry Nance. He's been great in this series. I'd imagine he's gassed. He's been banging against guys just like the rest of the bigs in this series. He disappeared in Game 5, and it was a big reason why they lost. When he's at his best, Pelicans have been winning in this series. So he needs to get back to double-double Larry, be active on the defensive side, and hustle your butt off, man. Your season's on the line. Simple as that. Jackson Hayes, same thing. You're an emotional player. Jackson Hayes is an emotional player. That emotion can either help your team or it can hurt your team. That's what I'll say to Jackson Hayes. I've been keeping a close eye on him. He got to reel that in, man. You know what I mean? It's time. You got to mature in situations like this, because what ends up happening is a team like the Suns, a guy like Chris Paul, he going to identify the same thing I just identified. That's a guy you can get under his skin. That's a guy, if you do the wrong thing, he going to start a fight, and like 3 people going to be kicked out of the game. Like, Jackson Hayes is that guy. So he needs to reel that in and understand that. You know what I'm saying? That if I identify that on the in my phone, and your opponent identifies that, they're going to try to take advantage of it. So reel that in, man. Don't let these people get in your head. So that's that, man. Pelicans need to play smarter. That's another thing. They got to be smarter. Smarter about how they manage the clock. Smarter about how they manage their possessions, from possession to possession. Young teams, it's hard because they've never been in this situation. going up against a guy like Chris Paul, who's been in the league for a million years. They know what they're doing. At the end of the day, that's just what you rely upon. I think Chris Paul's in a dire situation. You know what I mean? And he's playing well. And that's a bad combination. That's what I'm seeing there. Chris Paul has his legacy on the line. He don't know how many more seasons he has like this. Maybe the Suns come back this great. Maybe they don't. This is his best chance. And, I don't think you can really bet that he's going to lay an egg tonight. I'm not betting that. I look at Monty Williams, and I remember he coached the Pelicans for many years. It's a closeout game against your old squad. New Orleans is a place where Chris Paul started his career. It's his old squad. People don't realize it, but yeah, for the Pelicans, the Pelicans, they were the Hornets. It was a weird little dynamic there. He came in during that dynamic, so it's too much history. You look at the closeout game; it's going to be extremely emotional. Environment's going to be incredible, and I just don't see Chris Paul losing the game. I just don't. On the road, I don't see a good Suns team, even though the matchups favor the Pelicans, even though the hustle favors the Pelicans. Everything on paper favors the Pelicans. But there is something to be said for experience and just the greatness of Chris Paul, man. And they have made adjustments that have neutralized BI. So if BI doesn't push through those adjustments, all right, if he ain't able to get back to who he was in Game 3 and Game 4, and it ain't enough to overcome what the Phoenix Suns are giving him, then that's that. See, like I said, efficient CJ is important. Maybe they get massive, crazy game from CJ, 42 CJ, 40-point CJ. Yo, Pellies win. But you don't want guys forcing shots to get there. You don't want a guy like him taking 20 shots, looking off Murphy, looking off Alvarado, to do that. Also, this is a point that I brought up in the last video, and it's a very big one. Jonas Valanciunas has been amazing in this series, banging up against people, dominating on the boards, obviously. Just being huge, even stretching the floor some. But he cannot guard the perimeter. So as long as the Phoenix Suns are hitting threes, you're going to have to be concerned about him being a liability on the floor. Now, if they're not hitting the three, he can continue to do what he's been doing, and you got a good situation. But if they're hitting it, and he ain't getting out there, or he's fouling those three-point shooters getting out there, you lose. You lose. And that's why so much is leaning on the Phoenix Suns not continuing to shoot well from the three for the Pelicans to win. That's the bottom line. The Pellies need to shoot well from three, and they need to guard the perimeter somehow. If they don't make the adjustments to do that, season's over. And for me, it's just a lot of stuff that the Pelicans have to adjust to that I just don't expect them to really figure out in one game, man. I really don't. I don't expect them to figure out one game. But if they are able to, we'll know Willie Green's for real. And let me tell you something. If they do come back and win this series, Dallas in trouble. Dallas don't want to play the Pelicans. That's not a good series. That's not a good matchup for Luka and them. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. Like I said, I don't think the Phoenix Suns are going to lose this game. I don't. I hope they do. You best believe I'm going for big Pels, but I just have a pessimistic view on this one. I don't think I'm going to be too happy about this game because at the end of the day, that's Chris Paul. I think the NBA wants Chris Paul in there. But the length and the athleticism, those forwards, those defensive players, they should, on paper, be able to continue to have success against the Phoenix Suns as long as Devin Booker is out. You don't expect Mikal Bridges to have that kind of game on the road, and that's what it took to win it, to have that type of a lead against the Pels. So, Mikal Bridges, he's going to have to continue to play well, and most importantly for the Pelicans, they're going to have to find a way to fend off what it is that he does. So they've toyed around with big lineups. Maybe that helps. Not if Phoenix shooting threes, but we'll see. So, hey, look, pay attention to that three-point arc on both sides. That's going to tell the story. Bottom line, the three-point arc and how both teams defend it and shoot it will tell the story tonight. And so on and so forth, I want to see a Game 7. I really do. I want this series to continue. I'm enjoying these two teams. They've been great. One of my favorite series, if not my favorite series, between this and the Timberwolves Memphis series. But they've done their job. I'm not tired of it. They can keep on going. Shoot, like we could do this for another 3 games. So, that's what I feel about it. And I hope you guys enjoy the game as I know I will. Thank you guys for watching BDF 44. I have something for you after the game as well. I'm out.